Hello and welcome back, and today we're going to be playing Running in the Shadows. Now you can see Sleuth here, clearly running in the shadows. The shadows seems to be cast by an assailant of some sort that's actually chasing after Sleuth. Now, the title is sort of fairly apt, I think, for the actual puzzle, because as I flash up the grid now and I walk you through the rules, you'll see that very much that the constructor here has indeed cast some sort of stickman figure that's actually casting a shadow, and it's part of the puzzle itself that we're going to be playing today. Well, speaking of which, let's get right into it. So, Run in the Shadows by Olli Wright. We've actually featured another puzzle from Olli previously, and I actually checked out his stream on Twitch. Stream affair. I didn't actually watch his stream. I watched a recording of his stream where he does actually sort of solve some of these puzzles. Not obviously not his own, but solves a lot of puzzles actually on there. So do check him out if you do actually enjoy this particular puzzle. Now, you can see that you've got this stickman figure here, and it feels like that this stickman figure is sort of casting a shadow. Maybe. I am really stretching in here, but I guess shadows don't necessarily seem to have like a one-to-one relationship between what figure you're creating, depending on the light position, of course. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Let's take a look at today's puzzle. So, normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each, in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Pretty standard. Digits in cages sum to the number in the top left corner of the cage and must not repeat. So, for example, this 11 cage, and I know it's 11, that's the number in the top left corner. If this was a 2, this would have to be a 9 to make sure that these two cells add up to 11. These two cells add up to 9, and these 4 cells add up to 12. These two are 7. We've got digits along a thick grey line increase from the bulb to the tip, or thermometer rules. So essentially, if this is, let's say, a 2, this would have to be 3 or greater. This could be 6. What I can't do is go 2, 3, 6, and then decrease again and go down to 4. That is no longer increasing from the bulb end. The way to think about this is just like a physical thermometer. The numbers continue to go up, although it doesn't have to be an equal distance between each cell. We also have German whisper lines, so consecutive digits along a green line must have a difference of at least 5. If that was a 2, for example, all of these neighboring cells on the green line would have to be 5 or more away. If that happens to be a 7, for example, this would have to be 2 or more away, 5 or more away, and therefore 1 or 2. And you end up with this pattern of high, low, repeating throughout the German whisper line. Obviously, these are examples. You're going to have to figure out what the polarity is in all of these. One thing you can never have on a German whisper line is a 5. And I'll leave it to, I guess, the viewer to determine why that is the case. 2 more rules to go. Digits separated by a black dot are in a 1 to 2 ratio, and not all dots are given. So, for example, if this was a 2, this would have to be 1 or 4. As long as one cell is double the other, that is absolutely fine. By saying that not all dots are given, it means that this 2, for example, could have a 4 next to it, and it doesn't require a black dot. Lastly, there is one grey cell, and I'm assuming Olli doesn't necessarily mean this one. Digits in a grey circle are odd. So this would have to be from 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9 to satisfy that particular rule. So the only thing left to say is, rescue Sleuth from that assailant running behind him in the shadows by solving this puzzle with a link in the description down below as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So, that thermometer is too tempting to pass up. So, it's an 8-cell length at least, which means I'm very actually limited. It's got 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, and 8, 9. And that's helpful. Here, I'll show you why. If you think about that leg that's coming off this shadow, I still need to increase. It's still going further away from the thermometer, from the bulb end. Now, if I look at the options in here, it's 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9. But obviously, this can't be a 7. You can never have a 7 on a black Kropke dot because it would require either a 14, not a Sudoku digit, or 3.5, also not a Sudoku digit, to satisfy the black dot 1 to 2 ratio. So this has to be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The rest is not necessarily known, but that is a 3. 3 on a German whisper line can only ever be surrounded by 8s and 9s. They're the only 2 digits that are 5 or more away. So this is 8 or 9. And what's useful about all of this is now we have the essentially polarity on this German whisper line. So I'm just, if you excuse me a moment, what I'm going to do is just quickly highlight all the cells that need to be large, as in 6, 7, 8, or 9, and all the digits that need to be small, as in 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is something. Where does 3 go in box 5? No 3, Sudoku. No 3, Sudoku. All of these are high digits, therefore it's not a 3. Only place for a 3 is in here, which gives me again back to 8 9s. Although this time this actually helps me because this has to be an odd digit. So that's 9, that's 8, that's 9, that's 8. That is clearly now 7. Doesn't, oh yes it does. That 9 gives me 8, gives me 9. Doesn't actually help me with the rest of this thermometer. And this cannot be a 4. It could have actually been a 4 earlier with 9, 9, 9. There was nothing sort of stopping that from happening. But now that we've got 8s and we've got these 9s, that is not possible. This is 1 or 2. And this is not 8 or 9, this is 6 or 7. Actually, 6 is possible with a double 1. Nothing's preventing that. But this is limited to 1 or 2 because the maximum I can have in here is 7. 1 and 2 inside a 9 cage. This would require a 7 or 8 to partner up with it to add up to 9. So we're off to a pretty good start. I probably can think through the rest of these. I mean, there's a chasm between the 2 and the 9 here. This could be a lot of digits. It's not 6, 7, or 8 though. Or 3. So this is actually 4 or 5. And yeah, that is the only possibility, despite, like I said, the chasm between 2 and 9. The remainder of this box is 1, 4, 5, and 2. There's quite a few options, so I'm not sure I'm going to pencil mark these just yet. Yeah, I'm going to move on. This thermometer, well, it's not 3, 4, or 5. I think it's actually forced because we've got 6, 7, 8 looking at this cell. This has to be a 9. This is 8 or 9, so it can't be an 8. That's a 7, and that's a 6 because 3, 4, and 5 are already all placed. This is 1, 2, 8. We've got 8s in here. That's an 8. That's 1 or 2. This is another 1 or 2 in the row. These now are 5, 6, and that 6 gives us an order. That's 6, that's 5, that's 4. These are 1, 2s. Got 1, 2s showing up everywhere now. There's another 1, 2 here with 3 and 4. So I'm thinking about 1s and 2s. And before I do that, I'm actually gonna briefly look at the 12 gauge. And you might be thinking, Sleuth, that is a million miles away from everything that you've been doing, but I'll explain why. So a 12 gauge in 4 cells without a 1 is impossible. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. You add them all together, that's 18. That's way too big. You definitely need a 1. That's a bad example. 2, 3, 4, 5 is what I wanted to show. 2, 5, and 3, 4, that's 14. That's way too big. You have to have a 1 inside a 12 gauge. If you don't have a 2, so 1, 3, 4, 5, that is 13. Still too big. You still need a 2 inside the 12 gauge. So I've got 1 and 2 in here for sure. Now take a look at this magic here that Olli has created. we've got 1 and 2 lined up in the columns in a couple of them. So these are not 1s and 2s. I only have space for 2 1s and 2s. They're in here, which actually gives me another 1 2. You can see that. So column 5, no 1 2s left. Column 6, no 1 2s left. That's another 1 2. And the remainder in here is sort of interesting because I have 2 options for completing this. So essentially 1 and 2 are adding up to 3. I need the remainder of 9. Now one option is 3 6. That 3 gives me an order. The other option is 4 5. And there's nothing to sort of restrict it at the moment. But I'm not sure I'm done with 1s and 2s. Here is even something else. 1s and 2s lining up for box 7. 1s and 2s removing all the options except for 1 2 here. 1 2 are lining up. 1, sorry, not that one. 1 and 2 obviously lining up, so they're not in there. There's a second 1 2 essentially in row 8 in box 9, and it's not that 1 2 in here. That's the other 1 2. So I am thinking about coloring these 1 2s just to sort of see if I can spot where the rests are. And then maybe somehow box 1 will actually help us figure out what they are. But am I going to do that now or later? That is the question. Well, as they say, no time like the present. So this will be my purple 1 2, and this will be my orange 1 2, and let's see if we can use that to figure out what is going on. So this is purple, that's orange, that's purple. That's orange, that's purple, orange, purple. That makes this orange, makes this purple, makes this orange. Okay, so I need a purple 1 2 in box 6, and you can see, because of these two, there's no place for it except in here. I need an orange 1 2, which unfortunately is in one of 2 cells. And then the purple 1 2 is again in one of 2 cells, which really doesn't help me figuring things out. Essentially I have like an X-wing in here that I can't quite resolve. Because this can be a 6, and these can be double 1. The fact that they're both the same, if they were different colors, that would have forced a 7. And we would have made a bit of progress, because that would have been 8, that would be 1. But not meant to be. These are 3 4s. This 7 cage, you can see all the low digits see this cell. So the remainder is actually only the high digits. The 4 could go with a 3 in here. The 5 would go with a 2. The 6 actually wouldn't go with a 1 because it's taken, so no 6. I mean, you'd be very tempted to think that there is roping going on here with 8 and a 3. There's just no evidence for it. It looks so tempting, but I just don't think it's forced yet. I really want to figure out what's going on. Oh, sorry, I haven't colored this one too. That's orange. So we've basically colored, we've placed all of them, yeah. There is 2 of them in every box. Yeah, 2 of them in every box. We just need to figure out what they are. And here is something. Here is something. Look at this 3. So you see, I was sort of looking at this 2 3, and I was thinking, can I force it to be a 2? And almost, you can see that there's quite a few restrictions on the 3s in here. Now, there's more than you might meet the eye if you're not careful. So this 3 eliminates 3 from all of these positions in box 9. And that's interesting because it forces the 3s into one of 2 cells. which line up with the 3s in box 6, making both of these not 3s. When I say both of these, I mean that gives me the 2, which is the most interesting part, but it also forces this cage to be a 4-5. And I get another 4-5 in the column. So there's tons of information there with just this 3 pair. Right, so that is my orange cell. Orange is in fact a 2. Let me just make sure I'm selecting the right ones. And therefore this is the 1. That's not a 1. And all of my purples are 1. 4, 5 are lining up in here, I did say. So these are 7, 8. Let's just think about the rest of this box for a second. The rest of it, we need a 3, 6, and 9. You can see the 9 is not in there. That's a 9. This is 3, 6. That leaves me with 4, 5 in here, 6, 7 in there. The 6, 7 are lining up. That's an 8. That's a 9. And the 6, 7. So these are 3, 4, 5s. How is that not resolved yet? 3, 1 gives me an 8. I'm just not paying attention. Not that that was hugely helpful, to be fair. So this is not 9, 2. This is not 8, 3. It's either 4, 7 or 5, 6. So 7, 6. No, 6, 7, 4, 5. Just because of these 6, 7. Whereas the 3 that's left, that's a 3. This is another 4, 5 just to complete the box. Got a 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7 pair. That gives me a 3 in here. That's not a 3. That's another 4, 5. 4, 5s are lining up in the column. That's a 7. That's a 5. The 4, 5s are lining up in the column again. That's a 3. That's a 4. This is a double 1, which annoyingly means it can still be 6 or 7. And the rest of this is 5, 6, or 7. Can I resolve that? No. I mean, this 4, 5 is the same, which makes it this 4, 5, but I'm not sure I really want to go down coloring again. I feel like I should be able to sort of just do this on my own from here without more colors. Let's think about the rest of this column for a second. Actually, I haven't really thought about 9s, even though there is quite a few of them that have been placed. Not a useful. Sleuth, pay attention. 2, 5, 4, 5. 5 gives me the 4. Remember, 5, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is left in here that isn't done? That's a 6. Right, that's a lot better. Just use the clues that are given, Sleuth. This is 3, 4, 8. I'm just going to pencil mark that all. That's not a 4. Okay, not resolved. And this is not 1, 2, 3. This is 5, 7, 9, I'm going to say. And stunningly, okay, these are not 5s. That is the 5. That's all the 5s done now, no? Yeah, that's a 5. What have I got going on here? 3, 7, 8, 9. No. 6, 7, 6, 7. Nope. I have another 6, 7, and a 9, which is still open. I've done all the cages. So it's just Sudoku, and I just need to open up my eyes a bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. The rest are 6, 8, 9. This is 6 or 9. This is 6 or 8. This can't be the efficient way of going around doing this. This is 7 or 9. We've done all the 1, 2s. Strangely, like I'm just not seeing anything sort of lining up to help me finish this. So 6, Sleuth, attention, attention. Sorry about that, fellas. Well, and ladies. That's 8. That's another 6, 9. That's a 9. That's a, well, 6, 6. I can type. That's a 9. And in here is 3, 7. 3, 4, 7. Which is, okay, let's just use the 9, gives me a 7, gives me a 9, gives me an 8, gives me a 7. That's not an 8. This is 3 or 8. It's a 3. That's an 8. That's not an 8. This is 3 or 4. This is 3, 4, 6. It's just 3, 4 because there's a 6 already in the column. That's 6. That's... Hang on, that was there a long time ago. Let's use that. 3, 6, 4, 3. Place for a 4. And if I've not made any more mistakes, and I've made a few now, 7 for the finish. So another beautiful puzzle, Olli. Quite powerful, that 3. I'm sort of lucky that I saw it earlier. Otherwise, I can imagine I would have spent a long time looking for it. And then, yeah, blindness struck again. And you could see the double 1, but it still ended up with a 7. Hope that you guys enjoy this. It's another fantastic puzzle from Mr. Wright. What would I recommend, I think? It felt that was more to do with thermometers than anything else, so take a look at the remaining playlist that will come up next, and bye-bye for now.